A reduction in the size of the legislature has certainly been an issue that has been discussed many times in the 12+ years that I have sat here. I believe that we are truly at the point where we either do this or we have missed the opportunity for at least the next 10 years, the next census cycle. I'd like to talk about a couple of the issues that I've heard being, for lack of a better word, possibly excuses for why we shouldn't support this. Seems that the issue of rural versus city comes into this, and I spend a lot of time in different parts of Chautauqua County. I have a very hard time differentiating one part of this county from another. If any of you that do not live in one of our two designated cities think that our cities are actual cities, you need to come down and spend some time there. They are not any different than some of our larger towns and some of our larger villages. There is no urban area in Chautauqua County. We are a rural area. There's no doubt about that, whether you live in a city, a village, or a town. I just do not see where the argument that cities have different needs than the towns and the villages comes into play, because the needs of our county residents are the needs of our county residents. The tax dollars that are raised in the cities are the same as the tax dollars that are raised in our villages. Seems to be a concern that we will somehow be able to sway a legislature of a smaller number, that there will still be 5 legislators from one city, 3 legislators from another city. That just isn't true, and it's a falsehood that legislators would be a part of a group that tries to sway people by saying this. The drawing up of the districts is a very distinct process. It is based on the concept of one man, one vote. If we went to 15 legislative districts, we are talking about having about 8,600 residents per legislative district. You can't get more legislative districts out of any one area than what the population allows for. Now, if legislators think that it is a bad idea that a city legislator actually represents another part of the county, that they actually would have a town, as one who has done that for every year that I've been in the legislature, I have had, at one time I had parts of 2 towns, now I just have part of 1 town in my district. That is an advantage, to actually have a part of the city and a part of the town in your district. It's not something to be afraid of. It's something that we should all look at, and being able to represent for whatever perceived notion there is of this vast difference between our cities and our towns. When the 25 legislative districts were drawn up, we certainly were living in a different era as to the ease of getting about our county, both by transportation, and no, we were not back in the horse and buggy days in the 1970s when we went to legislative districts, but we certainly were back into an area where we did not have every person having a car, as it seems that we have now, where every person has a cell phone, where every person has a computer, where a lot of people have computers in their cars, along with their cell phones. The ability for us to communicate certainly is much easier. That goes not only for the ability to communicate amongst ourselves as legislators, but also the ability to be able to communicate with our constituents. The era of instant news is upon us. Anything that we do that is of substance, we know about immediately, where we did not have that luxury when the legislative districts would come up. Certainly, there is no one in this room who can say that Chautauqua County is not facing tough times. And we are going to be asking a lot of people. We are going to be asking every resident in this county to make sacrifices. Every single one of them. Because we're going to be reducing services. We're going to be reducing the number of employees that we have. We're going to be reducing what we are able to do. Every single person in this county is going to have to give something up. And it is not right if we do not take the opportunity now to show that we are the true leaders that they think that they elected us to, and that we will pass up an opportunity to show that leadership by reducing the size of the legislature. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.